What is up, Ludi Bros Army? It's your boy Big Bro Lamar Ludi, sitting down to catch you guys up on my fantasy basketball league. But before we get too deep into this video, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, turn that notification bell on. I'm gonna get back to bringing this content to you guys on the regular. I missed about a month. I had about a month of games that I missed, starting off back in December. The week of Christmas was the last update I needed to get out to you guys. So let me just go ahead and say Merry Christmas. I hope you had a happy holiday. And let's go ahead and jump into this on Martin Luther King Day. I can get this video out to you guys, catching you up on the Fantasy Basketball League. So the last time we checked in, we're going to go ahead and look at the overall schedule from the last 4 weeks, and then we'll take a look at my roster as it currently stands. The last time I saw you guys, I was on a 2-game winning streak, and then I picked up 2 more wins. I picked up a win during the Christmas week over Team Doodles, and I picked up another win over North Carolina Rapids MVP heading into the new year. I followed that up with a close loss, and then another loss last week to the Chicago Saiyans. And what has happened to my team here is I've ran into a bit of the injury bug. So let's go ahead and take a look at my roster. And when you take a close look at the roster, you'll see I'm missing some key pieces here. I've got Marcus Smart out, Drew Holiday's out, Draymond Green is out. If you've been watching these videos, you'll know that on this injured reserve, the spot was previously held by Zion. I went ahead and I dropped him. I don't think he's going to play this year, and if he does play, I think he's going to be on some sort of minutes restriction. So at that point, I just had to go ahead and drop him from the team. Draymond Green is out. He's missed quite a few games. We're going to take a look at the games missed by these guys. Draymond Green has missed the last, 5 games. That's almost a week. Let's check a little bit longer. Actually, 6 games, dating back to the 6th. So that's 11 days of production that I've missed from him, and he's averaging 35 points per game. So that really hurt, and it's part of the reason why I was losing those games. But Drew Holiday, who's been another consistent piece for me, he's also been missing back to the 7th. He's been missing some games, and he averages even more points than Draymond Green, so he's even more of a key piece to what I've been doing. Marcus Smart, he's been out he had a calf injury, following it up with some COVID protocols, so he's missed the last 4 games for me. But he's also a big contributor, getting 29.8 points. So when you add that up, I mean, that's over 100 points out of those 3 guys every game that they play. And I mean, that hurt, which is why I dropped the last 2 games. The previous matchup with the Chicago Saiyans, we could take a close look there, and we can see the day-by-day production from the players, or for the weekly total of the players. Christian Wood dropped 167 for me. I was able to get 201 from James Harden, who he's starting to finally round into the form that I envisioned when I drafted him with my top pick overall, so that's been really good. I had to make a lot of moves to try and mitigate what I was losing from those guys, so you'll see I have a few more players on my roster. Bamba missed. The injury bug really hit my team bad this time around. Bamba missed out for me, and that was he's another key contributor, and he was out for a few games there. So my opponent, Chicago Saiyans, he got some good production. He's got Joel Embiid, who got him 202 points. He's got Luka, who he was kind of up and down in those 3 games, only getting 109 points. But some solid production overall from his team. So let's go ahead and take a look at the standings, and we can see just what those 2-game losses did for me. Well, I'm still entrenched here in 2nd place. I'm a game ahead of Team Doodles, 2.5 games back of this number 1 leading team over here. And looking out into the other conference, Team Rosario's at 9-4, followed closely by Team Stubing. I matched up this week with the Respectful Shooter, so we're both coming in with an 8-5 record, and we'll see how things are going to pair out there. But if we look at the potential playoff projection, you can see that I'm matched up here. I'm still here in the playoffs, which is where I want to be. I know that if I can just get into the playoffs, then I'm going to be able to win this thing. And I'm actually really happy to be matched up with this team, because we're 1-1 right now. And that's going to be a tiebreaker. If we don't match up again, I'll have to take a look at the scoreboard to see if we match up again before we get into this playoff picture, which I believe we'll match up one more time. So I'm really looking forward to this matchup if this takes place. But there's potential, I could end up here 2 or 3. I could even end up here in 1st place. I'm only 2.5 games back, so all it takes is a couple of losses, and I'm back up in 1st place. But looking out over the rest of the field, I don't know if any of these other teams can make a move. I know Respectful Shooters, who I matched up with this week, he's 5th. So if something goes wrong for me, he can move himself possibly up into this top 4 and try to do some damage there. Team Doodles, who's behind me, he's a full game back. So that's going to be very interesting to see if he can catch up to me. But the thing that you want to look at when it comes to fantasy basketball starting this week off, I'm already up 16-14. There's a big slate of games today. So I have Terry Rozier playing. James Harden is going to be playing for me today. That's going to be crucial. I picked up RJ Barrett looking over my roster. He wasn't on here the last time I checked in with you guys. I picked him up. He had a few big games for New York, and he's been contributing. So far today, he's got me 10 fantasy points. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been solid, both for the Memphis Grizzlies and for me. Mo Bamba has been up and down since he came back from his injury. We can go ahead and take a closer look at what his production has looked like. You can see here he's been, in and out. He missed all these games back in December, and then he got back on the court, had 17, then 8, then 47, rounding back into form, 30, 16, back down. Now he's back out again, and then 17 points here. So he's been in and out of the lineup for me and for Orlando Magic. Marcus Smart, we already looked at him. I picked up Bogdanovich, but this position that he's filling has been a floater for me. So I've got him running today, but I'm most likely going to drop him off. He's been very up and down as well. You can check out his numbers here. Here he's averaging some pretty solid numbers. I mean, 27, 26 back in December at the start of the new year, 32 points. He had a big game against Denver where he dropped 62. Didn't play against Toronto, and then I picked him up, I think around this game for the Indiana Pacers. I dropped him when he dropped this 14. I picked him back up, and he hurt me in this game against Cleveland. He only got 8 points. But then I kept him around for this 37-point performance that he had against Denver. So it looks like against Denver he seems to go off. And then he's going to be playing against the Lakers today, so we'll see what kind of production he can give me there. But this position that he's filling has been a flex spot where I'm dropping this guy and then picking up somebody who's playing that day, looking to get some more points. Like I said, to mitigate what I'm missing out on from Marcus Smart, Drew Holiday, and Draymond Green. Jaylen Brown is currently playing right now. He's chipped in 21 fantasy points. Josh Giddy has been solid. He's somebody that I've picked up and had to let go. I've picked him up and let him go, but I brought him back around, and he's always flirting with a triple-double. If we take a look at his numbers, let's see here, not Jaylen Brown, although we should check him out. He's averaging 30 points per game, and you can see here, very consistent. 35 points against Denver, 47 against Washington, 38 against Brooklyn, 22. This rookie has come in just very, very solid. Giddy has been one of the most productive, versatile rookies this season, has been thriving due to his ability to fill the stat sheet on a regular basis. So I'm loving the production that I'm getting out of him. A solid 30 points per game. And if you look at this percent rostered is looking at other fantasy leagues. He's only rostered in 62% of leagues. So I'm wondering what other people are missing out on from this type of production from this guy. Maybe he's not a household name because he's a rookie. Dennis Schroeder has been very up and down. I know that because he's playing for my Celtics, and then I've picked him up and dropped him a couple times already here on my fantasy. But you can see here, he was injured back here, finishing off December. He came back, getting some good minutes, 40 minutes against Orlando for 39 fantasy points. Then he's not starting. They were starting Marcus Smart, so he's got a couple games here where he's only getting 20 minutes per game. Marcus Smart goes out with injury, and then he gets back into the starting lineup. But this right here on the 14th, this really hurt me. This was last week when I could have used some production against the Masayan, and he nets me a -4 on fantasy value. He had a bounce-back game against the Chicago Bulls, which we won. So the Celtics coming out with a statement win over the Bulls, who the Bulls are starting to struggle. If you're, in real life, outside of fantasy, they're starting to struggle. I think that's a few losses in a row. And then now today, he's got 19 points so far against the New Orleans Pelicans. And then here, not playing today, Drew Holiday's out, and then Christian Wood and Anthony Edwards, they have the day off. So once Draymond comes back and he's no longer on injured reserve, depending on what the roster looks like, this flex spot with Bojan Bogdanovic is going to be where he's going to fill in, and then I'll be able to go from there. But I would just, like I always say, the best ability is availability. I'm missing big pieces, Drew Holiday being the most important piece of what I'm missing right now. And it reflected in those 2 previous weeks. So I got to keep making those moves. In fantasy basketball, you're allowed a matchup acquisition limit of 7. So you're able to make 7 moves during the course of the week. So I'll be looking daily to try and make a move to try and mitigate those points that I'm missing out on. But as you can see, I've jumped out to a quick lead here. It's a full slate of games, so I'm sure that here the respectful shooter, a lot of his games haven't started yet, so this lead right here is somewhat fool's gold because I've got a couple Celtics players going off right now, but we'll see how things shape up. It's been a busy month. It was a busy month for me, you know, in real life, so that's why I wasn't able to get those videos out to you guys at their scheduled time, but going forward I hope to now have them coming back to you guys every Monday. So you're going to want to check in every Monday. Make sure you have that notification bell turned on, and I'll keep updating you guys with how this fantasy basketball thing is going to shape up. All right, well, thank you guys for tuning into this video, and I'll see you guys next time.
Thank you for watching the video.